We'll be talking about pen testing. How many of you here do that? Pen testers? Oh, come on. There's more than 2 of you, I know. That's like half our industry. Anyway, he works at the CIA or something. He'll tell you otherwise. I'll turn it over to him. Enjoy.
Justin is definitely my name, and I appreciate that very much. We'll stick with that. This is Kent. We're with Blacklist and COSAC. I'm still firing up here. I'm going to let Kent drive in just a second as I get these last shells left and operational. Or Kevin. What about Kevin, too? Kevin and Justin. Blacklist and COSAC. CI something. Basically, we're going to run through all the time. You got that. On your left. All right, so we're going to run through what we do with the pen test typically. So this would be like an external pen test, trying to get into a larger environment. Yeah, I wish I'd say really prepared, but we were doing this last night at 2:30 in the morning. We're rocking this. And then George's been breaking it all day, so it's going to work. It's demo that time. Oh, there were slides, but I know there's slides. There you go. You can do slides. You can not do slides too. You ready? This is document recovery. Right, we're professional speakers, darn it. I was worried that we were going to be only 2 wearing hoodies here. So, yeah. Alright. It's awkward. Alright, it's a lot of polos. There's a lot of button-up shirts, which is typically exactly what we do when we see people. Alright, so we're going to talk about a pen test from an external perspective and different tactics we can use to jump into a network. And this is like a very quick way to jump into a network, go fast, and just exploit quickly. So, how many of you guys here are like less than 10? Sweet. Okay. How many blue teamers?
I've been trying really hard to get better at door jobs. Really bad at
We're awesome at breaking things. We are not great at telling people how to fix the things we broke.
We can't catch ourselves when we have Sysmon in our system. Like I mentioned to Alyssa. We have Sysmon, we have SIM. We can't catch the logs we want. It's hard. It's really, really hard.
It really is hard. So we had this put together, and last night we were going through, it's like, cool. We know exactly how we're attacking. We're going to show you guys how to catch us attacking. It's actually really hard to do that. So for the blue teamers that can do that, props, because it's actually not as easy to do as we think. You're still just hacking away. What are you doing now? I can't even see the slides on my laptop. I've got a screen on it, so I can't see.
Oh, man, like that. We're talking about recon.
Recon, okay, yeah.
So, infrastructure.
Okay, blue teamers, how can you find out if someone is reconning you? Network logs. Okay, what if it's a non-touch recon? What if we're finding out all their email addresses from third parties that scrape the internet, which is legal? Very legal. Just ask LinkedIn. They're not happy about it. So you can't really do much, right? You might be able to find, like, you might be able to scrape, what is it, Basebin, where it's a scrape Basebin, you get the Basebin API, and look for any kind of your domain is found inside of Basebin. It's not very effective, though. We do it. We get, every time one of you is going to post a link to one of our blog posts, we're going to get an email that says someone put in their blackhillsinfosec.com inside of a paste bin. And then one of us in IR has to go and look at it to make sure that we weren't caught. It's awesome. All right, so recon.
That's monitoring, right?
Yeah.
That's monitoring. We are going to purchase a domain similar to yours, right? You can pay services to monitor your DNS, which is important. We've had organizations blow us up before our engagement is even underway because we go buy a domain, we try to install CMS on it, and then get it categorized so that when we go to phish you, your content filtering doesn't catch us. But we have been blown up literally before the engagement was even really underway because of DNS monitoring. So this is something you might look into at the routine as well.
So, for example,
will you catch them up on what's
this is actually crazy. So what you're saying on DNS is you should have a script every day that goes out and permutates all of the domains that look like your domain name and tell you if someone registered and tell you all the alias records that are on it.
A little closer, thank you.
Anybody know what canary token is? Okay, set up canary tokens on your web server. So if someone duplicates your web server for a fish, you're going to get a ping back that says, hey, wait, someone duplicated our website. All right, so Recon, this slide throughout the entire slide deck is going to be this bit in the left-hand corner, right-hand corner.
You're right.
My right.
Your left.
Your right. All right, so the way this works is we're going to go through an actual pen test here. The items that are highlighted are where we're at in the process, what we found in the process, and what we're going to do next in the process and where it took us. So, the wireless is always the cause of problems.
Thank you. And pen testers, you know, you could be anywhere in this, see something shiny, and jump to exploitation.
Which can Alright, so lots of tools there you can use for recon. The idea here is that after we did a recon for a fictitious company, we found that they are a farming and ranching company and they do organic produce. They have 200 user accounts that we were able to identify. We found their web portal, which is mail.fruitbakery.com. We found their VPN portal, which is like muffin.fruitbakery.com, with some crazy port there. And you're right, we have what we found. So we found a barn and a donkey and some users and services. Okay, so where's this at? Right, where's this guy here with the hat? And we found these things on your external perimeter that we're going to try to exploit. That's all.
Which is always interesting.
Yeah, okay. How are we going to do it? Okay, so we have user accounts.
You guys know who Marcello is? Yes. The Spring Toolkit is something he wrote a long time ago when he was tired of something that Mail Sniper wasn't doing. Have any of you used Mail Sniper and or Spring Toolkit? Okay, if you haven't run Mail Sniper, this is still effective, but your antivirus flags on it when you try to report it up the AV up front. And then the Spraying Toolkit's tool called Atomizer is another way of spraying. They operate a little differently. Atomizer will run through and show you the Mail Sniper shows you threads as it runs, and we're going to show those both out here in just a second. One of them interacts with credential validation and actually touches your DC. I think it's Event ID 4771, and then the other one does credential something different, and it's Event ID 4776. So they interact a little bit differently with your networks, but to the same result.
I'm confident with the safety here that if we get the wrong Event ID, someone can correct it. All right, so the idea here is we have a bunch of user accounts and email addresses, and we have some portals we can log into. Using that information alone, we're going to go ahead and password spray against the OWA portal, which is not difficult. So we're going to take a single password and we're going to spray it across all those user accounts.
So this is Atomizer, right? You're seeing success and fail as you roll by.
It's almost done. All right, so I think we tried like KC Chiefs, something. Best football, sports ball ever.
I think that's what we use with Mail Sniper. One sec here, let's try that.
All right, so the point here is that we're able to spray. It's taking this long. So if you know that you can find email addresses.
So that Mail Sniper, right? We see the threads running across here. And this interacts, again, with an exchange box. It tells the exchange box, can you go check each one of these individual accounts against a domain controller and tell me if they're valid? These tools take about approximately the same amount of time to do the same thing.
Ideally, in logs. Yep. Maybe not. Yep. So ideally in logs, what you're going to look for is a bunch of failed authentication attempts happening from one place. And in this case, the authentication attempts are actually going to be coming from Exchange. So from Exchange to your DC, and that's what you're going to be looking for.
You have a user population of about 500 and 8 characters from password policies.
At minimum.
Sometimes more. Yeah.
Something like summer 2019 bang would be a good one.
Right now, yeah, we're rolling up on fall, so the 90-day password cycles. You guys have heard seasonal password disorder syndrome from us before, right? A very standard attack for us.
If you just
we're in a sports-driven community, right? This is the next thing we look at. Okay, season year didn't work. What's next? Who's the next major sports franchise? Denver, Kansas City.
they have lacrosse.
Oh yeah, they moved into the nice city. Beautiful. So anyway, with both of these tools, we password spray. We gain access to credentials. They operate a little differently, but all of these should trip things on your network. You should catch us doing this. This is a fantastic place for a blue teamer to say, we caught you.
Found creds. So from blue teamer's perspective, you should be able to see a password spray. And with that password spray, you're gonna see a bunch of failed off, right? And they're gonna say, and they're gonna see one that actually went through and was successful. As soon as you see a bunch of fails and a success, that success has to have their password changed, right? Because you know it's caught in the password spray.
That says 4771. I think I had that right here.
Sometimes you get lucky.
Kerberos Authentication Service. I believe this one is atomizer, right? So this is spraying toolkit. Operates a little differently. Harder to catch because you have to enable additional logging on your boxes. This is not on by default, and you would not believe how hard it was for us to get this event in our logs.
Who's heard of Sysmon? Oh, good! Awesome, okay. Perfect, okay, that's really good. And everybody familiar with how to get Sysmon and actually use it effectively? Okay, that's awesome. You guys can use it, sure. You can destroy us, maybe.
There's more stuff we can do with Mail Sniper. So if we gain access to one of your credentials, there are more things we run. We want to see your gal, right? So let's go ahead and get your global address list. This may enable us to see more accounts on your network, right? Expand what we gathered from Recon. We pulled half your employees off LinkedIn. We were able to recover some of their credentials. We got the gal, now we've got all their users. Great.
So that's from 200 users to 215. I'm missing like 15 new employees.
Or in a contrived environment, this is just what happens when you turn people loose in the lab.
It's contrived. This is completely. Our Active Directory domain is such a mess. You try to red team in it, and it just everything breaks. And
it broke until like 3 minutes before this. I'm surprised this is working right now.
So am I. Democrats. All right, so we have a user account with a good password. We know how to get to their OWA. What are we going to do with it?
Well, another thing we should do is probably look through the mailboxes, right? Something here is telling me.
I don't want to read a bunch of people's email. That's lame. I mean, it's kind of cool because I get to log into someone else's mailbox, and it's probably illegal. But short from that, like, what can I actually gain from someone's inbox? Typing. You can gain other passwords. So the idea being that if I send Chris a password, now in Chris's mailbox is a password. It's going to say password : summer 2019 Bing. And as soon as an attacker gets into Chris's mailbox, he's going to search all of Chris's emails for the word password. What's he going to find?
Credentials, or KeyPass, or .pem, or credentials CSV, something that gets in your cloud environment.
Or litigation.
Right, as we see here, we do a self-search against a mailbox we recovered, remotely, version of Exchange, and then we search for password, creds, and credentials. And we find some interesting emails.
What's inside those interesting emails?
The one from Bertha, I believe, includes a Linux password.
Linux password. I don't know what Bertha's doing in Linux, but it's good news. So we might be able to pivot with that, right?
We can try. Let's see where we are in the slide deck first.
Slide deck. Okay, John.
For credentials, we also have a VPN, right? This is a fantastic place for us to start. Did you know that any user in Microsoft Active Directory domain can add their machine to your domain unless you disable it? It is a feature on by default in user level privilege. This is dangerous. This is something you should disable.
It's there for convenience, though. Which is really quite convenient, too. So, to our point here, we know that Muffins is out there, right? That VPN portal from Root Bakery. We know we got someone's user account. Yeah, so if we have someone's user account, and we know where their VPN portal is, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and try to log in, let alone their emails. I really don't need that. First, I want to get on their internal network and see if I can do that.
I think I did that in the background.
I didn't. Hurry, okay. So we're on the VPN now, and we've got access to a Linux thread. What are we going to do with that?
Well, I don't know if we're there yet.
Well, you know, Pentest will like this. We're going down rabbit holes, and typically what you find on an external Pentest and an internal Pentest, there's no direct way to get where you're going. You have an idea, and the idea is to pillage everything. Find it all and report it all. But getting there is always a path that has multiple ways to get there.
A couple things we should probably talk about on this side. How are we doing this time? Look for VPN connection logs, right? To validate the network you see. We could also do route printing, route with those?
Yeah, not bad.
You'll see the active adapter. We have access, we're on your VPN, we can do whatever we want. We're not gonna go there. There's also other things that do you enforce this? Anybody understand cryptographic message validation? This is very important. SMB relay. An SMB relay these days for a pen tester, whether we're doing an internal or a pivot, is the fastest way for us to get credentials. And these days, software exploits are hard. We are winning.
So you can do a relay. If we obtain a hash, we can use that hash wherever we want. The systems aren't going to authenticate where they're coming from. Yeah, up here, upper right. Right. So what we've done so far, we've gone through reconnaissance, we've gone through scanning and enumeration within that. We found 215 accounts now, actually. We found some valid credentials. We currently use the internal network access to get inside. And what we just found here was internal access with additional hosts.
Some more scans. Depends what you're interested in and how you scan your networks. Blue teamers should be scanning, should probably be moving toward purple teaming, though a lot of organizations have dedicated purple team resources. Blue teaming, some have.
This is not right? This is not, nothing we've done is quiet. Nothing. You have had ample time to shut this down. As soon as we saw that, what's that?
At least catch us.
Yeah, at least catch us. We had time to figure out where that password spray was coming from, and as soon as you found that source IP address, you should have dropped it. Because no one good is going to be doing a password spray.
Not generally. But Mail Sniper was written as a blue team tool, right? So was Atomizer, right? They're not evil. They're trying to make the world more secure, right? Tell me morally and ethically that those are blue team tools.
Well, okay, fair. If your blue team is using Mail Sniper to password spray, someone in the company should probably know that the blue team is using Mail Sniper to password spray. And that IP address should not be coming from China.
Okay. Thank you. Fair. Not evil.
Not, yes.
We will use our powers for good.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So what we here is we found an SSH box that allows password authentication, so we brute force it, right? Tool built in, script built into Kali. I apologize. A script built into Nmap to test password authentication against a Linux box or Linux boxes.
In your defense, Nmap is in Kali, so. If everyone feels like this is disjointed, that's because how pen tests go. You don't know what you're looking at until you put it all in front of you and just start poking at stuff.
Yep. So at this point, right, we identified an SSH host. We initially compromised that SSH host and used it to compromise the network. Our interns figured it out, they changed the password, and then they emailed each other about it. And then we found that email because we compromised somebody's phone.
Do interns know how to use PGP?
You use PGP with Exchange?
Well, I thought you were going to say with interns. Yeah, you can use it with Exchange. Exchange won't know what to do with it, but that's because it's PGP and it's not supposed to know what to do with it. All right, what are you doing right now?
I'm setting the mic down for a moment.
That's what I meant. Oh, you're logging into SSH with that password that the interns changed and then emailed in plain text to other interns.
I believe it's eat more sushi.
We have a great relationship with interns, though. If everyone's interested, you can email someone at blackhillsecurity.com. What you doing? Does anybody recognize these screens? Okay. Do you know what that stuff is over there? They're hashes, yeah.
Those are hashes. How do we make that work?
I don't know, I'm gonna do something over here. You talk.
I'll talk. So basically what we're doing here is after we found systems that do not enforce SMB signing on your network, we target those with relay. And then we fire up responder in one window and NTL and relay in the other. And we target those systems that do not enforce signing. Right? Waiting for some user with enough privilege to get us SMB authenticated to that target system not enforcing signing. This is why cryptographic message integrity checks are so critical to your network security. It's awful. So here we go, right? We have a user who requests a system name on the network that is not resolved by your DNS infrastructure. Windows behavior is bad, right? First, I'm going to broadcast on my network NBNS. Does anyone know how to resolve this system's name? Sure, I do. Yeah, that's me. We relay the poison response to our target system. Okay, NBNS doesn't work. LLM&R, right? Let's multicast the same request. Let's do this twice. Yeah, that's me, right here. And we send that poison response to our target SMB systems.
Okay, let me recap that. So I opened up the folders in Windows, right? And I hit //. And then I typed in intern share, which is not a real share. Windows said, yeah, that server doesn't exist. I don't really know what to do. Hey, does anybody on the layer 2 LAN know who intern share is? Can you tell me some information about it? And this guy over here said, yeah, that's me. Yeah, I got intern share. But for you to connect, to send you files, I need to know your hashes on Windows. So you send me your hash on Windows, and I'll confirm it's you, and then I'll give you something that I don't have. Okay? And then essentially you gave your hash away. And our attacking server gave nothing in return because it really didn't care. All it wanted was your hash. And the next part of that is it's going to take the hash and it's going to use it. What's it going to use it for?
Attempting to authenticate over the network as you.
But all it has is my hash. I didn't give it my password.
Speaking of hash, does anyone recognize that one? I have one hash highlighted up here. Does anybody recognize this? This is a blank LM hash. There is no landman stored password for that particular user. So it's useless to us. You will see this in your AD infrastructure if you disable the storage landman password or you enforce a password policy greater than 14 characters. Not 14 characters because Windows will chop that in half. Windows will chop that, thank you. If your password policy is 14 characters, it's not good enough. Windows will take a 14-character password, chop it in half, and store 2 chunks of hash, which we can crack by folding spacetime in our 8 GPU rig.
It's worse than that. Okay, does anybody know why landman is so bad? Okay, 14-character password. Yeah, that's a good password, right? Okay, no, we're going to cut it in half. We're going to set it into 2 different 7-character passwords. But before we do that, we're first going to make everything capitalized. So we have like what, maybe 52-ish characters, and then we're going to have to crack 7 of those at a time. That takes the entire 14-character space on landman takes us about 2 minutes. So if you store anything in landman, 2 minutes to crack it.
So disable the storage of landman passwords on your domains, and then have everyone change their password because their current password
There's a way around that. Force everyone to have 14-character passwords or greater. Because the landman attribute and active directory can only store 14 characters. Excellent. So if you have a 15-character password, the active directory cannot actually store it.
Kent, what do I have highlighted now?
What do you have highlighted now? It's LATIT admin.
That's the NTLM hash. That's the one we want, right? So we poisoned a request for a user, targeted a system with SMB signing disabled. We authenticated as that user and dumped the hashes from that system because she had admin privilege.
So the idea is we were able to get local admin because of a typo. Because of an intern typed in intern share instead of intern share.file local something. And that hash is then used against the system to grab all the other hashes of all the other users, including the admin account for the domain.
If you're a Bluetooth and you have a Kali installation.
And if you have a Kali installation on your network.
Here are your 2 commands.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Okay, inside of Kali, here's your 2 commands you're going to use. So everything we just did there, you ran responder. Responder's the one that's going to say, hey, Windows says, hey, I got this file share, does anybody have it? And responder's going to say, yep, hey, that's me. And it's going to send it to NTL and relay, which is take that hash and then use it to authenticate on that same system to try to get additional information. Note that targets is a variable, so it doesn't only try it on that one system, it'll try it on all the targets that you give it. So in a different environment, you could say, hey, we got this one hash, will you go try against all of the computers in the domain and see if that user is an admin on any of them?
TF, targets file. So this file contains the systems we identified as SMB sales on the network.
Man, I'm going to update this.
We have local admin hash. This is fantastic. I cannot tell you how many pen tests I've been on where we win with this simple trick. It's 5 minutes. It's the first thing I check on every single pen test.
It's not 5 minutes, it's 24 minutes. We're 24 minutes into a pen test.
Oh.
Okay, to be fair, the reconnaissance actually took us like 20 minutes before the presentation. So we're 44 minutes into the pen test. We have a local admin on one of your internal desktops. The timing there is not that inaccurate. Okay, it's exaggerated. We're realistically about 2 hours into an external pen test. And we have this much information. The question is, can your blue team find all of those connections and block us within that matter of time? What's the average response time?
9 months?
9 months. What is it? Yeah, it's more than 2 hours, I guarantee you. Well, it's usually more than 2 hours unless you have a really awesome blue team and a really awesome sim that's finding everything and automating it for you and then taking the IP address as a source and blocking it on the fly automatically without disrupting business.
For those of you who haven't used CrackMap Exec, this is another Marcello Salvati tool. It's scary. It's another go-to tool. Every pen test. If I get creds, I use this.
Okay, who's heard of Marcello before? I think yes. Okay, did you know he lives in Denver area? We called him last minute and said, hey, you want to come down with us? And he said, yeah, actually I'm in London.
Okay.
Oh.
11:30 in that. So we just dumped LSAS with a single CrackMap Exec command and a local admin hash we got. So now we're looking to expand our access on your network, looking for DAs, looking for EAs, looking for services that are running with way too much privilege. Anything we can get out of these boxes, anybody logged in on the network, on systems where that local admin is a local admin.
Now it's using the LTIT admin? LA IT admin. Yeah. So just one of those matches without actually having a password. We can try back to that, we use that, send it across the entire network and find anywhere. But that admin account with a local admin is probably going to be everywhere, hence like LA local admin. So maybe don't call your admin accounts admin, but that's actually good naming convention. Don't have your administrator account called administrator. Valid creds, we have valid creds, we have hashes, we have a domain admin account. Probably. Well, we've got an account that has local admin on everything in the domain except for the domain controllers.
Want to run through this? Let's
Yeah, let's go
right,
through this.
just to review.
Alright, so where we're at right now, where we've gotten prereqs are in yellow, right? So we've got 215 accounts now. We know where the OWA server is, we know where the VPN server is. We have valid credentials that we gained additional valid credentials on this run. We know where the internal network access landscape. We know the identified services that we're able to find, which is SMB, which we've used with the responder. We have SMB sign and disable, which has allowed us to take those hashes and replay them over and over. We have the internal Kali server, which we found inside of an email. We have a pullable SMB, which is again the sign and disabled. And we found the local admin hash, which we just used here, which gave us additional hashes. And
that's a nice recap. Thank you. On to DA, right? We got a DA account in there somewhere. IT admin, isn't that our DA?
yeah, I believe so. I think we missed it in the screenshot.
Okay, but there's more, right? We touched LSAS. Somebody should know it. It might be too late, but we have another opportunity for an alarm.
Okay, where will we see LSAS? What kind of monitoring? Sysmon. It's going to tell us that something touched LSAS. What touched LSAS in here? Why did we use LSAS? What's in LSAS?
Creds.
Yeah, creds. Mimikatz might be able to pull plain text creds out of memory with it, but HashDump is going to pull out those hashes and get them there as well. So
I had to call Marcello to ask him how I catch that service, CrackMap Exec, interacting with LSAS. He told me it's really difficult. I utilize SMB connections, RPC, Win32, Net APIs. This is what we found. A whole bunch of odd calls by random DLLs on the box. It's really hard to trigger on that. It was even harder for us to sort out which event it was. So it's hard, but Sysmon is amazing. Again, we spent so much time trying to learn how to log properly. We installed Sysmon there.
There's another problem with us actually identifying what we've done, because if you tell some hackers to go build a network that's contrived and does a bunch of automated things, the way the hackers are going to automate all of the things that make it look like user accounts are to essentially install malware everywhere. So if you then try to go back and find where you're running malware intentionally inside of all the other intentional malware, it actually ends up being really difficult. So if you were to actually look from a blue teamer perspective on our Active Directory domain, it just looks like malware everywhere. And all that malware is trying to automate like user behavior. It's rather interesting.
And that doesn't even count that we have interns in there whose project is explicitly run malware.
So that's a whole, we have other projects. This entire lab that we built this off of is tapped in multiple network connections. So we've got other teams that do blue teaming and they try to do hunt team analysis on it, which just is awesome because I know all the noise we generated in this project, and come Monday, someone's going to actually go through all the logs and
Seed logs.
they're not our problem.
What's real?
Okay, so where are we at? I mean, we've got
We got all
DNS,
this
right?
stuff, man. We took over. But you hired us also to fish you.
Oh, fishing. Who loves fishing?
Anyone do SPF, DKIM, DMARC, all the fun security mail things that he's really smart about.
That's all DNS, man. Okay, who's used Go Fish? Neither of you. Okay, cool.
Modeliska? Anybody using Modeliska yet? That's a tough one.
All right,
Command line, hackery.
also Russian.
Fish is nice. It's got a beautiful dashboard. Modeliska is command line driven, proxy oriented. Back to my
GoFish is the rebuild and still rebuild, but they're trying to mimic, what's the commercial one?
No before.
No Before. So if you're using No Before, it's very similar to that, except for you actually have to do everything manually. So it gives you metrics, so it'll tell you how many people clicked on your link, how many emails got sent out, how many got blocked, etc.
Wow, you're doing great on that. So a pretty standard ruse, right? We're giving away some IP here. A pretty standard ruse for us these days is you find your company, you search the news. Every company right now seems to be doing pretty well in the economic structure. So we find that you guys made a whole lot of money. Check this out. Let's go to this site, check out this link and nominate one of your colleagues. Maybe you'll get nominated too. And we're getting like 30–40% click rates, right? We're at least getting people nominated. Endpoint detection is better than HTAs, right? These are getting harder to execute on endpoints. We can serialize, we can JScript, we can do all that magic and bury payloads in an HTA, but your endpoint detection is getting better. It's getting harder for us to execute on the endpoints. So again, we're still trying to win with credentials. Another ruse, we ask you to change your password after the Pentest, and you got compromised likely. So go change your password. Check out our authentication portal. Again, this is where we go to. We bought a domain name like yours. We stood up a CMS. We got it categorized. We are now redirecting your users with an email saying, go check out the site. I think you got compromised. It looks like yours, but...
Can we give the ruse that usually works on HR?
Sure, man.
Okay, so if you're going to fish someone and you really, really want them to click on the link, and you really don't care about the consequences, you can send an email from HR that says, hey, there has been a complaint of a harassment nature, and you need to review this document, and you need to be in my office in 2 hours. Click rate's going to be really high.
Those are targeted fish, though, right? And it works these days. It's painful. We often present ruses to our customers as, which of these are you okay with? Unless it's a red team. When it's a red team, it's all on the table. And that's a terrifying thing for people to get these days. We have not gotten in trouble for using it, but there's always that potential that.
We have gotten in trouble for other ones. If you start talking about finances, people get really weary. So if you're an environment, we've got Root Bakery, they have an organic farm, ranch, something. You say, hey, guys, Root Bakery, we're in a position to acquire the Southern Farm District. Check out these financial plans and see what you think. And then you accidentally include like the price of the farm and maybe the value of the Root Bakery system in the process. People know they shouldn't probably be privy to that information, but they're going to click on it because they're interested. Another one we didn't talk about, we talked about phishing in terms of email. How else can you fish? Boys, that's a good one, yeah. If anyone's following Google Calendar injections, yeah, that's scary. You can send your CEO arbitrarily a pop-up that says, hey, you got to be at this meeting in 20 minutes. And the agenda is right here. Just click on it for the agenda.
Has anybody seen the recent iPhone pop up on their device where it's a calendar injection event? It's happening on Android. I don't know. Have you ever seen it on your iPhone?
I have not, but I'm sure yeah.
Fair enough. It might have been Mike.
And Google Calendar injections is in fact a feature. So phishing as a feature. It's good. All right.
So, we said fish to an organization. Obfuscated payloads and HTA files. We got a user to click. It spawned us the Cobalt Strike beacon. We do all the fun things in Cobalt Strike.
Everybody know what Cobalt Strike is? Awesome. Okay. C2 infrastructure. So it's kind of like Meterpreter, same type of thing. Just with a fancy GUI and built for Windows. People that are making screenshots.
All the time.
Yeah. I mean, the point is we already own your network. So we can go into more detail about how we're going to continue to own your network. The point is we're already there. We're 40 minutes into a pen test, we're really not. The reason we're really not is, yeah, we have the recon time. Yeah, we have a lot of time of documentation, right? So for the pen testers, the two of you have to be in the room, we'll write the report as you go, because so far what we've generated here is about 40 pages of technical writing, which is not fun to do after the fact. So yeah, that's lesson there.
Pasting screenshots, explaining, writing findings.
For everyone in the room that might be middle management, and you hired a pen tester, that pen tester is not just say what you're going to do, not just say that they're valuable. Just like Alyssa said this morning, it has to be valuable to middle management to take to executive level and get money, get funding. And sometimes it has to be negative language, right? Yeah, look at how much they pwned us. But more than that, it has to give a better way. You have to be able to explain why what you do matters in a way that can get funding to make it better.
People that sign the check
They don't at all. In fact, their eyes may gloss over and they'll stop listening. But they do care about those things that Alyssa talked about earlier. So in your pen test report, when you deliver it to your customer, right? Because you guys are probably going to be customers of those pen test reports. They should say what the vulnerability was, what the exploit was, why it matters, how to make it better in terms that management can use and take to the CISO and get money from the board. Right? It should have those things. If it doesn't, get a better pen test. And the last thing it should have is it should have practitioner level methodology, which means you take that report and you can go step by step. You can reproduce everything that the pen tester did the exact same way and come to the exact same results. The reason that's important is after your team fixes those vulnerabilities, you want to be able to retest that methodology without having to pay another pen tester to come in and do it for you.
Questions?
Concerns? Comments? We covered a lot of stuff. I know you guys are not all red teamers, because that's typically our audience, right? And it's good to hear and see you guys that you might not have seen this stuff before. You might not have seen what the attack looks like from our perspective and how quickly you can move, and why it's important that you have that logging set up and catch quickly. And quite frankly, from a red team perspective, it's very difficult to catch that stuff. There's a question, yes? Setting up this environment?
No, setting up a content management system so we get passwords.
Yes.
The assignments been there for a while. They're not very effective because they're managing their time, right? They like lose track. It's not good done. So what our other systems, right? We're both systems that we use semesters. We have first systems. You go to school to automate a lot of content. It's very important to that. Now,
So the idea behind that, to elaborate on the question just about phishing, right? Okay, so if we get a domain, we purchase a domain, we want that domain to look legitimate. So if you have the Fortinet, if you have the Cisco, right, when you go to the web browser and you open that web page and you try to get to that domain, typically, if you have a good product that filters that, it's actually going to check in this database to see whether or not that domain name is accurate and legitimate and is categorized. And it's going to say, oh yeah, that's categorized to the business sector, so it's probably legitimate for that user to get to it. In order for that phish to work, we have to go in, spin up that domain, and make some sort of fictitious content that looks legitimate enough to fake it with Fortinet or to fake it with Cisco. And then we have to go ask Fortinet and Cisco, hey, please, will you go ahead and categorize that as business? Because yeah, it's business.
Go ahead and talk about SPF.
Okay, SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. Does everybody know what it is? Hey, any marketers? No, that's usually what happens. Okay, so SPF and DKIM. The idea behind it is that if I send you an email, SPF is going to tell the receiving mail server whether or not my email that I sent was authorized to be sent with the from domain that I'm sending it as. So using SPF, you can tell recipient mail servers they were not authorized to send that email. With DKIM, when I send my email, I then have to include a key. And that key is the public key that I'm sending has to match the key that's in DNS. So that is another way to authenticate email that's being sent. With DMARC, utilize these two things together, and you can build a report back. So as a blue teamer's perspective, you can use DMARC. And here's what I really like about this. You can use DMARC to determine all of the emails that are sent using your from domain that are not sent by someone you authorized to be sending email from. Right? So if China is sending, if anyone else that is not you sends email on your behalf, you will get a report back from the recipient mail server saying, hey, we received this mail, we actually blocked it, we want you to know about it. That's what DMARC is doing for you. Okay, so it's very important. There's also really great tools, because if you use DMARC on its own, you're gonna get these really ugly email reports back that are useless. They're like a bunch of aggregate data and stuff that doesn't make any sense to anyone. What you want to do is take all that data and put it into a database and aggregate it yet again, and then get useful reports there. Those useful reports will tell you exactly where your mail flow is coming from. So marketing agencies, if you ever get emails that end up in your spam box, marketers for some reason can't figure out what SPF is and I don't know why, because it should be like marketing 101, 102.
Send stuff out of your company, but they're not authorized to send on behalf of your domain, so you end up sending spam.
The marketing agency should be working with the IT department. I don't know why they don't, but it seems like they don't. Anyways, if they did, you'd probably get better penetration rates on emails. All right, I think we are...
Is that covered? Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions? Yes?
How is the increased move to SaaS versions of these, of mail and hosted AD, has it reduced your ability to be effective this way? And then the converse is to cease.
Hard.
Okay, I'll give you an example on that. Through this, we ran a HTA file that was inside of a phish. If we sent that to Office 365, we will get an immediate beacon back to our C2 server. That does not come from our client. No, it comes from... Yes, it comes from Office 365. They're inspecting that traffic. They will recognize it as a C2, and they will drop that email immediately.
And they detonate it as a payload. We host it on our own server. We try to convince your user to come to our CMS that looks like your site, and click the link, download it, pull it into your environment by initiating that session with us.
So you have to be clever. You have to make emails that look legitimate and don't link directly to your payload.
Phishing is really hard these days. It's really, really hard.
Anyone that still runs an on-prem Exchange server, you're probably looking at the ROI of going to Office 365 or another platform. It's a real thing, and it's huge, because not only is managing your own Exchange painful from a sysadmin perspective, but Office 365 is getting really secure. If we try to password spray across Office 365, we get about the first 100 password sprayed before it starts to drop us, no matter where we're from. All right, any other questions? Yeah?
How does your approach change for environments that don't necessarily have a domain controller when they try to things? So maybe Kubernetes.
That varies greatly. So I have had a couple of those, yeah. So the idea is we just get it, if it's an external, we're going to look at the perimeter. If it's an internal, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to look at the internal landscape. We're going to find all of your services. Typically in that kind of environment, what we'll find is a lot of web services that are running, whether it be API services or something like that. As soon as we see an API service, we're going to fuzz the heck out of it. We're going to try to get any information out that we can. And worst case scenario there for you is that it's an unauthenticated API, so we can just do whatever we want with it. Including sometimes creating accounts or changing user accounts from users to admins just by making an API call. Those are always fun. Yeah, you should be logging. So the question is, what can you do to identify it from a blue team perspective? You should have logs. All of your API calls should have logs. All of your web services should be monitored for activity, and you should build a baseline and look for deviations in that baseline. I think that is it for time. Any other quick questions?
The risk reduction. Everything you show me when I'm pen testing your organization that you saw reduces your risk. Right? We give you an overall risk score because sea levels low, like things and colors and graphs. We are arbitrarily moving that around, but everything you show me moves it to the lower side.
Thank you guys so much. Oh yeah.
Keep going.
We have time. So you mentioned how would you differentiate testing versus red team?
Red team is very, very quiet, very targeted. So if you'll notice before, we did a password spray. No, we don't do that. We will do everything we can to find what we know to be one valid password to one valid user account, and that's one we're going to use. We're going to use it at the same time of day that user is also working in the environment, so as not to raise any suspicions. It's much slower.
Shell Intel had a really cool AWS package they released. You can space that timing out to 5 minutes. You might send one password request per 5 minutes, and we're done. I really hope we have a chaotic talk today, so